So before I start, I'm going to ask you a question. And it's a question about a complex piece of technology that every one of you is intimately familiar with from the very first day you were born. And it's your body. So the question is, how many organs are there in your body right now, since it's a piece of technology you use every day?
I don't know, 7.
7, 6? So I asked 3 doctor friends of mine, and they were not sure either. They said it depends on how you count and what you would include as organs and suborgans. So I asked my most trusted source of information, Ms. Google, and Ms. Google told me there are 78 organs in the human body. So today I want to introduce you to the 79th organ in your body, and not created by nature, but entirely by humans. And before I explain that to you, if you have your cell phones handy, just kind of hold it up for a minute for me. Great. So this is the 79th organ in our body. Because here are the stats. There are 7 billion people in the world today, and there are 6 billion mobile phones. More people have access to mobile phones or mobile technology than have access to clean drinking water and electricity. Now, this is unprecedented in human history. So I was standing in a small rice farming village called Chittalangeri in Kerala in southern India. This is where my grandparents, and it's the picture at the top, lived as poor rice farmers. And this is where my parents, the pictures at the bottom, grew up as children of poor rice farmers without access to electricity, without access to running water. When I was young, I would spend my summers in Chittalangeri with my grandparents, and as I was running around these paddy fields, it struck me that the entire village of 20,000 people had only 3 telephones, just 3 telephones, with 2-digit numbers. 6 months ago, I was back in the village with my family, with my parents and my siblings for a ceremony in the village temple, and I looked around the village. It suddenly struck me that more than half the population carried this 79th organ that had sprouted in their hands. Any one of these villagers working these paddy fields could pull out this little device that had mysteriously sprouted at the end of the hands, punch in 16 digits, and be instantly talking to any one of you. 6 billion of us are 16 digits away from each other. What are you doing with that kind of power? What are human beings doing with that kind of power? What can marketers do with that kind of power to connect with the brands that are out there? Whether it is search or YouTube or Google Plus or Gmail or Google Earth, that there is a social component built into it. So why is that important? The social layer across all of Google. Once we build a social layer, we can uniquely customize each person's experience based on your social graph and your social context. So I'm searching for hotels in Singapore, and I get a set of search results. We are familiar with it. There are a couple of ads at the top. So this was the second ad, which gives me a result saying, if you're interested in hotels in Singapore, then agoda.com is a good service, and they're running an ad. But right below the ad, it says, Maytay plus one this. And there's a picture of Maytay, and it says that Maytay endorses this particular ad. She likes this particular service. So who is Maytay? Maytay is a friend of mine. She lives in Singapore. All of a sudden, my attention is drawn to that particular ad because I trust and respect the opinion of someone I know. We have found that when we layer a social signal called a social extension, people's attention are drawn to it when they see some indicator like 1,000 other people like it. If it is the name of someone you know, your attention goes even higher. When we put a picture, it jumps up even higher because now there is an emotional connection. And if it's a picture of someone you know, like your brother or your mother, then nothing else on the page matters except that particular piece of information, whether it's a search result or an ad.